In this week's episode, we talk about paying for business knowledge, creating your unique selling proposition, and searching the scriptures. Hi, and welcome to episode 46 of Business Greenhouse TV. Super pumped to spend this time with you. Got a couple of great questions, bit of learning from the Bible. You know, it's been great last few weeks. I haven't had any travel, so I've just been kind of hanging out here in Port Macquarie and spending the morning with the family and then going to the office in the afternoon doing a bit of work. And it's been a really nice balance at the moment. You know, when I'm at work, it's just deep, you know, just punching out back-to-back coaching calls with our clients, growing their businesses and stuff like that, which is really cool. Had investor meetings and stuff like that. So, you know, just deep in the business, just doing the grind and enjoying the journey. Let's get straight into today's show.
Sarah Ryman asks, what is the real value of paying for professional advice? Legal, accounting, mentor, coach, and the positive impact it has on your business.
You know, Sarah, it's an area that I'm passionate about, obviously, because essentially part of that is what we do, you know, mentoring and coaching. But I would say to you, like, so many people skip out on paying for advice. And there's a whole theory out there, you know, the number one reasons why businesses fail is because of cash flow. It's actually not true. It's not true, not even remotely true. It's not a cash flow issue. The number one reason why so many businesses fail is knowledge. It's a knowledge issue. It's always a knowledge issue. If you had knowledge on how to get more cash, you wouldn't have a cash flow issue. If you had more knowledge on, you know, debtor strategies, you wouldn't have a cash flow issue. If you had more knowledge on marketing and sales, you could sell twice as much and wouldn't have a cash flow issue. So the reason why businesses fail, you know, 90% of the time is just simply knowledge. There's just, you know, like, what one business person finds hard, somebody else doesn't. And the only difference is they've taken the time to learn it. So to answer your question in a roundabout way, I'm a massive fan of paying for advice. You know, like, that's how you increase your knowledge. That's how you can bridge the knowledge gap between the business you have now and the business that you want in the future. You know, because at the end of the day, it rises and falls on us. You know, it all happens in here. And the more knowledge you have, the less things come up that can throw you off course. You've got the knowledge to be able to handle them. So I'm a big fan of paying for it, you know, and even separate to that, you know how many business people I meet who you know, you mentioned legal in your question, who scrimp and save on their legal contracts and then wonder why they get taken advantage of later on. You know, it just doesn't make sense to me. You can buy this knowledge in, you can buy accounting, you can buy legal, you can buy marketing, you can just buy that knowledge in. And to me, if a startup should get every bit of knowledge it needs, okay? And the reason why I'm here making these videos, you know, and we have so many clients, and I've built and sold 8 companies, is just because I invested heavily into knowledge. So I understand there's really small nuances of how to get Facebook to work, the small nuances of how to get Google AdWords to work, because I've created enough campaigns to know. Like, I know how to do strategic alliance. I know how to write my own legal contracts before I send them to a lawyer to get them written up properly. I know, because I invested in me. I invested in knowledge. I got accountants. I had meetings with accountants when I needed to know stuff, lawyers and so forth. So I'm over-index on getting advice. Not because I need it, you know, not because I want you to come to us. You know, we're only one small part of a much bigger knowledge pool. And but wherever you need to get help from, the way that you shore up your success is find people that are smarter than you in those areas that you need and go and pay for their advice. You know, they've spent their entire life, you know, a lawyer spent 5 years at university and practiced law, and like, you're paying a small price to pay for the amount of money they've invested in their education. So I completely over-index and reckon that everybody should get as much advice as they can, or certainly when they need, and we should never be scrimping and saving on advice, because it's the knowledge that's going to hold us back the greatest in any of our business ventures.
Bo Duggan asks, what's a great process to go through to clearly identify and convey your USP, especially in a highly competitive market?
Bo, let me just, for everybody that's watching, just to try and make this relevant, USP is your unique selling proposition, USP. And so, it's actually quite a tough thing. Most people know they should have a USP, something that makes them unique. Most people struggle to find one. And most of the reason is they're too close. They're the plumber that's been a plumber forever, and all they can do is to see what everybody else does. That's the beauty for me. I look back at a business and I go, okay, well, let's find what makes you unique. So what's the process you have to go through? Well, let me tell you what happens if you don't. If you don't have something that makes you unique, you always have to compete on price. Okay? So in the absence of value, the only frame of reference your prospects have is price. When they're ringing around getting a price, it's because no one stopped the prospect in their tracks and said, well, let me educate you. Let me find out a little bit more about what you're looking for, and I might be able to steer you in a better direction. And as a consumer, I'm not always interested in the cheapest price, but the businesses tend to think that we are. And so they drop to the lowest common denominator. So that's why we've got to come up with something that makes us unique, because the more unique we are, the less we compete on price. So when it comes to something unique, we need to find a balance between something that is commercial, that the market want, and something that is true, okay? That's what we've got to find. And it's got to incorporate both of those. So, and we really want something that's in the delivery model or somewhere concrete in the business. So let me give you an idea of what I mean. Like fastest, cheapest, things like that. Your competitive advantage in that way is quite often a very good way to go. So, for the Aussies watching, we've got Bunnings. Bunnings, what makes them unique? They did that guarantee of lowest price or beat it by 10%. Okay, that makes them incredibly unique. And so, and they have more than one uniqueness. Uniqueness in Bunnings is the trade section. They have a massive trade audience that buy all their stuff from Bunnings. Okay, they were the first massive big box store, so they were unique in that regard. Okay. But take Masters, for those of you that are following along. Masters failed. They were a massive failure. Why? Because they weren't unique. No one could tell you where they sat in the market. The closest I ever heard somebody get it right when they were explaining Masters was a bit like IKEA and a bit like Bunnings. But you can't be a bit like your competitors and forge yourself a uniqueness in the marketplace. So that's the reason why they fell apart, because the consumer couldn't see where they fit. So just to give you some examples, we've had clients that, in amongst looking at their business, we found out that one of the things that makes them unique is they're a family business. Now that's not always going to work, and it's not even amazing. And your uniqueness doesn't always have to be amazing. It has to be true and it has to be commercial. But these guys, we worked out that they're a family business. It was a father, mother, and two sons that worked in the business and a few staff. And we found out that the market that they sell into really appreciated the fact they were also family businesses. So they really appreciated doing business with a family business. And so it was incredibly commercial that we went and marketed that as a USP, okay? But let me give you another example. A lady by the name of Sharon, who owns a uniform supply business, okay? So high-vis, corporate wear, that sort of thing. When we looked at her business and the industry generally, we found out that one of the things that makes Sharon business unique is she has a fully stocked showroom, with thousands of garments there in a showroom with a change room. And so people can actually go and book an appointment and go to the showroom and try and feel and see, which was quite different to most uniform supply companies who bring samples in from China and send them back if they don't work, and they don't have that experience of coming in and having an appointment and doing a fit out, okay? So once we realized that that was actually unique and commercial, we marketed that like mad, and it took a huge amount of market share out because it was something that the market wanted. So it was in their business model. It wasn't some fluffy slogan that was going to stay in the mind of the prospect. It was actually something fundamental in their business that made them unique that we could then go out to the market with. That was the thing that caused the biggest gain. So just to kind of wrap that up, to make it simple for you, you've got to, if I were you, I'd take a whole step back from your business as a whole and look at it and go, okay, well, what are we doing differently that's going to make us unique? Is it the fact that we have parking and nobody else does? Is it the fact that, we only employ young people and that's an advantage? Or is it, the point where, we only employ old people and that's our commercial advantage? You just got to take a step back. You've been look, what are we doing differently and what's commercial about that, okay? And then go to the market with that uniqueness, market it, put it on the front foot, tell the world about it, and it'll be the thing that lets your prospects get a handle on you, why you, and then more people will buy from you, okay? That's ultimately the reason why. Solid question. All right, let's go to Word of the Week. All right, this week we're going to go to Proverbs. By the way, have you been following me every single morning for the month of June? And if it's gone past June, well, you can go back and watch them, but you can't watch them live. Every single morning during the month of June on Facebook. So you go to Business Greenhouse on Facebook, like the page, and you'll get a notification. I'm going live every morning at 7 a.m. Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria time, 6:30 South Australia, Northern Territory, and 5 a.m. West Australia time for the solid WA folks who are always on first every single morning, which is hugely commendable. So every single morning through the month of June, we're doing Proverbs for Business. I'm taking one proverb every day, putting it into a business context, and you can join me every single morning through June. If you missed it and you're watching this after June, it's not a problem. Just go to Facebook, type in hashtag Proverbs for Business, Proverbs, F-O-R, Business, hashtag Proverbs for Business, and you can go and see all 31 of the episodes that I filmed in the morning and go and catch up on them all. But anyway, today we're going to Proverbs 25:2. And it goes like this. It is the glory of God to conceal a matter. To search out a matter is the glory of kings. Let me say it again. It's the glory of God to conceal a matter. To search out a matter is the glory of kings. Kings, royalty, royal priesthood, us, okay? It's glory for us. It's a great idea for us to be searching out matters concerning the kingdom. How do you do that? How do you do that? What I like about it, searching out matters is much deeper and more depth to it than, having a memory verse. It's like he's saying, let's search out matters, okay, that the Lord has hidden. That's, like, for example, let me give an example. I meet a lot of people who can chant in the mirror, I can do all things through Christ who strengthened me. I can do all things through Christ who strengthened me. And at the same time, they've got one staff who's sick, one's a gossip, someone wants to be sued, and it doesn't actually help them, okay? So they know scripture at a very surface level, but it's not helping the scenario. When you search out matters, that means you actually have to spend the time searching the scriptures, going through in prayer. Lord, show me, how should I handle myself in this environment? And go to Solomon and see what he did, and go to, Joshua and see what he did, and read about Esther and how she handled herself, and searching out matters that you can go and apply to your business. That's how you bring real depth to your faith, okay? Getting one little, like, I am more than a conqueror, I'm more than a conqueror. It doesn't actually help you. It might make you feel good for 5 minutes, but we need to go much deeper if we're going to pull on, the word and the relationship with the Lord to actually help us, equip us to go and do great things in the kingdom. So I would say to you that we should take searching out the scriptures far more seriously, which means, let me give an example. I go to the Lord with an agenda, with what I want to learn, because I want to search out matters that he's hidden. So, for example, I remember maybe 12 months ago, maybe even more than 12 months ago, I really wanted to know, God, out of all the people you could have picked, why was it Joseph? I wanted to know, what was it about Joseph? So I went through reading the story, go back, go forward, listen to the Lord, get a little idea, go to a scripture, do some research. And it took me an hour or so, and for you it would probably be a lot faster because you're more holy or something, I don't know. But for me it took me an hour, and I realized, hang on a minute, out of 14, there was only 2 born out of righteousness, and this one was a brawler, this one had language issues, this one had anger issues, this was he was appointed at a certain time in history to be able to go and do it. Benjamin was too young, yada, yada, yada. And so I got my answer. I'm like, man, that means so much to me because it was revealed. I searched it out. The Lord revealed to me something that I'll never, ever, 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 ever forget. And that, to me, that's so much more valuable than just being able to learn a scripture and quote it at a situation, hoping that the situation goes away. So I would say to you, I would urge you, let's get a little bit more serious, which means we've got to invest a little bit more time in praying to the Lord, listening to the Spirit, and reading our Bible to search out matters, because that is the glory of kings, the glory of us. Super episode. I hope you found value in that. If you did, do me a favor and share it, because that's the oxygen that keeps me wanting to do this, is more people following that stuff, because I have a big dream to change culture. I'll see you next week. Bye for now.